All right. This is on Imagination with the Healing Garden, and we are breaking this down, the organization. So I cannot cut out any parts of me. I am, therefore I be. I am, therefore I be. That's interesting, but that's it. I am, therefore I be. Everyone needs to say that. I am, therefore I be. Now, I have to do a nurturing side to all of this. There's got to be a part of me that nurtures the people. And in fact, under that side, I'm going to be putting the I am, therefore I be. Because that is something that people really need, and I know how to do it, and I just need to get off my ass and just do it. And the reason why I don't do things is because I am at an impasse. It's because I'm unorganized, and I can't afford that anymore. I have my anarchist side, and I realized I need to teach. That is my solution for everything, is teach. So I am going to, from now on, just organize my rants into teaching. And because I'm in teaching mode, I'm keeping a lot of this in check, and I go right over into the play and the theater and the stage. So I'm going to be delivering live action, one-staged productions of political theater. Oh, yes, it's a thing now. It's a thing because I just made it. So this is called political theater because I cannot draw, so I can't be a cartoonist. But what I can be is like a cartoonist. So I am going to embrace the embodiment of political cartoons inside of me by doing one-man act of political cartoons, because this is how I understand things. And I can't draw. Maybe this is why, is because I have to do theater instead. So I'm going to do political theater, political stage. Oh, yes, it's a thing now. I am the founder of political theater. Oh, this is going to be so much fun. Oh my God, darling, it's going to be so much fun. So, I have not played around at all with any of my voice impersonations, but we'll see what that comes out with. No promises, no promises. So that's going to be my anarchist side. So every time I get my anarchist side, and I'll tell you what happened this morning. I was on Instagram. No, not Instagram. I was on LinkedIn, and I saw a psychologist post a psychologist's notebook. You may laugh. And I looked at her notes. It was not, I have to clarify, there was absolutely nothing discriminatory at all in her notes, at all. It was a cheat sheet she had made for herself so she could remember all the psychological disorders. I have to clarify, she did not violate HIPAA. For ethical purposes and for hers, I just have to say that. But I was looking at it, and I got to see a snapshot of the DSM-5, which is toilet paper. It is toilet paper. And I'm looking at it, and I'm going, oh, the rage. I started to type, and I went, Anna. Right. Right. Yep. So then I took a massive ethical step back. And I have a rule. I have to show you my rules. If they ask a question, they get a question. If they make a statement, they get my silence. If they're frustrated, I give them a quest. If they attack me, I humiliate them. Those are my only options. When I interact with people, those are my only options. Those are Anna's rules. Those are Anna's rules. I got them from Plato. Those are Anna's rules. So before I open my stupid mouth, every time, I have to sit down and ask myself those 4 questions. Did they ask a question? Did they make a statement? Because every word spoken and or translated is only ever the self-interpretation of the author. Say nothing. And if you are humiliating someone, it has to be done in like 3 words or less. And then cut them off and go away. So I pulled back. And I thought about where I'm going to put this energy, because I got it. So I got potential energy. Now I got to direct that into kinetic energy. Physics says so. So I I wrote an article and that wasn't good enough. So I wrote another article and that wasn't good enough. And I'm going, Mother Nature, what do you want me to do here? And I went, all right, I'm going to talk about it. So then I talked about it. And when I was talking about it, I realized I need to build a course and it's going to be Anna's Public, Anna's Republic. Only it's not going to be called Anna's Republic. It's going to be called Republic. Part 2. The modern times, something. And I realized I need to siphon my anarchy somewhere. Now, I am a pacifist anarchist, and I am a pacifist activist. But I do not do the whole, let's get everybody angry. I have studied social sciences my way all my life. And I know the right way to do something and the wrong way. If you go and you plant trees and flowers, no one comes along and beats you. At least. Depends on a lot of different factors. I think that Martin Luther King Jr. had to do exactly what he did the way he did it. I am not in that man's shoes. I have no idea what it would have been like to be him in that era. I do not judge that man. I commend him. And I'm sitting here thinking about Emma Goldman. I've done a lot of research on Emma Goldman. Most people don't know who Emma Goldman was. Emma Goldman was an immigrant activist and a feminist back in the 1890s, 1905. They deported her because she pissed off the government. I am a US citizen. I'm protected. She was not. And we have free market. This is what we call counting our resources. Hierarchy is the problem. Hierarchy is the problem. Nothing else. Hierarchy is the problem. I'm going to explain to you why hierarchy is the problem. When you have equal footing, there's no question. Either you're on equal footing or you're not. Now, if you think you're on equal footing, then you get unequal footing. But if you don't think you're on equal footing, then you throw yourself down on the ground like a dog, or you put yourself up on a power pedestal. Now the person standing on equal footing, waiting for you to join them, knows exactly where you stand. The person on equal footing will look to the person who threw themselves to the floor and they will say, I cannot pick you up because you have one trial, problem solving and claiming your own self-authority. That's it. So here's the question I have for you. Would you put yourself on that equal platform? Would you throw yourself in the ground like a dog? Or would you put yourself up on the power pedestal? If you would put yourself on a power pedestal, there's a good chance you are not going to be in a philosophy class. Unless you are a narcissistic moron who feels that philosophical knowledge is going to give you more power. You're right, actually it does, which is why you're not here. God forbid you have real power, because real power comes with real responsibility. See how that works? So I know you would not grab the power pedestal, which means you're either on the ground like a dog or you are on the power pedestal with me. So here's how this works. I'm going to say to you, you have two challenges. Your first challenge is self-authority, and your second challenge is problem solving. You have to pass those two tests before you can join me on equal footing. No exception. I cannot help you because that is the challenge. And if I help you, I've taken your challenge away from you. And that doesn't help you. That breaks you down even further. That cripples you. So I'm not going to help you. I can't. That's against my ethics to help you. See what happens when narcissists write the book of how to be a good person? The first thing they say is, you're going to help people. No, helping people actually breaks them down. So if you want to help somebody, you have to use words like 2 rules. You got to problem solve, and you've got to find your self-authority. And that's all I can do for you. Once you've done that, when you're ready, join me on equal footing. On equal footing, there is no appraisal because you're standing on equal footing. There's no appraisal. The appraisal is stand with me as my equal. That's the only thing. That's all there is. Can you stand with me on equal ground? You do that, we're done. If you're standing on equal ground, there is no appraisal. The only thing that requires the appraisal is the hierarchy. So the hierarchy uses all of the things. It uses your gender. It uses your education. It uses all of the things to measure your power, to determine whether or not you are lower than them or higher than them. And wherever you are, they don't care. They want to make sure that you are not touching the power pedestal because that's where they stand. So you have to make sure you are under the power pedestal. And if you're not, oh, don't worry. They're going to take it away from you to make sure that they've got the power pedestal and you're down below. That's the hierarchy. So now people start arguing about all the abuse that they've had, all the gender wars they've had, all the race wars they've had, all the racial, gender, all the problems they've had, all the ageist problems where older people abuse younger people, all of it. All that goes away if you get rid of the hierarchy. Fortunately for us, it's on the way out the door, so we're good. So that is the anarchist, activist, pacifist side. And I'm trying to figure out how to organize all this. I have the nurture, IMB side. And I have the build a business. I love that. I put out some articles the other day to see what kind of education people wanted. And I am not getting anything back on parenting. That might be because I do not affiliate with parents. So it's going to be really low on my priority to handle the parenting. But all of my stuff can be 100% applied. Parenting is a consequence. And that's really what needs to happen is I have to look for the catalyst. And education is the primary catalyst. Businesses are huge because businesses reach the most people. 100%. So one educator, that would be me, fueling the businesses. And that's it. Now, after the businesses, it's going to go down to the foundationals, which is where the parents are. And that will trickle down. So by teaching the businesses, the one thing I was seeing a lot of is problem prevention and the problem solving. The other thing I saw a lot of was, in fact, the business, the ethical business practice. That's power economics. And the other part that I saw was the philosopher's journey. There was a lot of who am I? Now, the pilgrim, the philosopher's journey. So actually what I saw was people wanting the philosophy. Surprised me, really surprised me. And the power economics. Now, problem prevention and problem solving, that's in philosophy. Oh, I saw it. I saw it. I right now have part 1, part 2, part 3. And I'm starting to realize it needs to be just triadic healing philosopher, triadic healing business. And it goes self business network. Really, that's it. Self business community, which also is story, logic, language, which is also art, science, language. Over and over again. It's the same thing, just on constant repeat. Self, story, art, business, logic, science, community, language, network, community, language. And these are the 3 pillars of life over and over again that I just, no matter how many times I go through this, bottom line is I need to do a self course. Because no matter what, if I were to break this down into what people think, and then I've got abuse proof them, abuse proof was the other one. But that's just one of the mental parts of the system. So the 7 parts of the mental system is your identity, your your defense, let's call it your defense. And then you have your self-preservation, not the same thing at all. You have your logic, which is the subconscious mind. That's what I like to call it. Spock is mine. And then I have conscious awareness. Identity, defense, preservation. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, fear system. Oh, and intuition. So there it is. Your identity, your defense system, your preservation system, your fear system, your intuition, your logic, subconscious mind, and your conscious awareness. Now, your intuition and your identity and your conscious awareness are actually your self-sailing system. You use those 3 things together in the right order, the way you're supposed to, and life is so fucking easy. So that's ideally just what we're doing. That's what we're focusing on. It's getting you to the point where identity, intuition, and conscious awareness are united. The problem is a whole lot of life gets in the way. Now, this is philosophy. This is art. This is story. And this is your life stream. This is you. This is literally you and your life stream. But it's also your ability to navigate this. This is philosophy. And I'm trying to figure out, I'm definitely doing a masterclass. I'm going to be doing these on Tuesdays. And this is basically a Tuesdays at 11 a.m. I'm going to be doing a masterclass, and I'm going to do an open class. So it's just going to be, yeah, I've decided this. I'm going to do an open class. Now you can purchase a package, which is probably going to be like 12 classes in one, or you can cherry pick and just do one. So you can come in however you want. And it's probably going to be $85 per class. And I host them every Tuesday. So I'm probably going to have 2 classes. I have my Saturday classes, and then I have my Tuesday classes. And that's really it. That is really it. Is my Saturday classes and my Tuesday classes. My Saturday classes are on the self, and the Tuesday classes are on power, economics, and business. Those are my build a business. And that's it. So, and I can do problem prevention, problem solving, abuse proof. And that's really it, is breaking it down and troubleshooting, going through everything and directing. And while we're all doing that, it's a and I think that's really it. That's really it. When you have all these different parts of the self, one of the things where you think is, oh, well, there's no room in this for me. There's no, I have to put that part over there. It doesn't belong. That's not at all what it is. And I'm still very much in it's so weird. It's so weird because it feels like it's the building stage of the business. And that's the other thing is this is the process. This is the journaling aspect of this is the journey. And I have the other side of this, which is just honest story. I have people who follow me just for my story. So I've got my story, which is going to unfold however it unfolds. But then underneath that, I have the teaching side. And then with that, I have the scientist side and the philosophy side. And this is where it gets hard for me because I'm a scientist. I'm more a science. I can't, and this is just it, is science and philosophy to me are inseparable. They're the same thing. They are absolutely the same thing. And teaching and parenting and healing are all the same thing. These things are things that should not have been separated ever. And I don't think there's anything I really need to do aside from just provide people with a high quality option of something better and something different. And I think that's really it. There's nothing else that needs to be done. And I think that's it really, is just sorting out the business, build a business with the philosopher side. Yeah, that's it. Philosophy, science, and then the business side. And then I have the playground, but the playground comes later. And yeah, it's very different. And sometimes I look at it and it's very different how it's unfolding. It's not different. It's very articulate. It's very hard to state right now, and I just put my finger on it. I'm in that early stage of scientific method where it's taking form and I can see how it's taking form. And I'm looking at all of my graphs and all of the work that I've done. And it's helping people find their own self. And it's why is it so hard to explain? Emotional management is something that's been on my mind a lot lately. Emotional management is you get an emotion and it tells you, oh, that's what I need to do. That's what you need to do. You feel hungry, so you eat. You feel tired, so you sleep. These are emotions. I had one emotion yesterday and I had one today. It's the feeling of, I don't feel good. When you don't feel good, you're supposed to turn it over into kinetic energy. And that's it. 90% of our feelings is translating physics, emotional energy. And because we're not taught physics, thank you, educators. Thank you, Mrs. Penningroth. There you go. Thank you, Mrs. Penningroth. And that's just it. Because you weren't taught physics by Mrs. Penningroth, and because Lester Letchworth, God, he sounds so slimy, doesn't he? Lester Letchworth and Mrs. Penningroth, because those two dipshits didn't sit there and talk to each other to say, you know what you need? You need physics and psychology. That way you know how to actually be a human. No, instead they're like, I'm going to give you the other handbook, the How to Be a Good Person, which really is how to serve a narcissist. And that's just it, is people are like, I want to be a good person. I have to help people. That's not the handbook you were given. Look at the front page. They put a book cover around it. You take the book cover off and there's the real book. It's called How to Serve a Narcissist. And we're going to talk about this book, How to Serve a Narcissist. So when you were a child, your parents handed you the same book that they got handed. And you're all following it. And it's how to be a good person. So you're all following this handbook to the letter. How to be a good person. And I've got my shark outfit on. I got my cloak. I'm knocking at your door. We're all the guppies. You let me in. I'm like, so there, cream sauce. You know, I go in there and we're sitting down and they're like, I don't understand what's going on. We got this book. It's called How to Be a Good Person. And I'm like, ah, shit, you got that book too? And they're like, yes, How to Be a Good Person. I know how to be a good person. Look at the book. Where'd you get the book? Mitchell? You got the book from Mitchell. Mitchell gave you the book? Yes, let me show you. So I take the book from you and I take off the book cover and it's How to Serve a Narcissist. Mitchell's an asshole. You can hate Mitchell. Sorry. And that's just it. So everyone's got this book, How to Serve a Narcissist. And they put a book cover on it, How to Be a Good Person. And so everyone's following this book, How to Be a Good Person, when in fact it's How to Serve a Narcissist. And if the psychologist did their fucking job, thank you, Lester, then you'd be good. But you're not, because Lester's in charge. Lester's in charge. So Lester wrote the book, How to Serve a Narcissist, and then, because he's a magician, I'm going to take my magic wand and wrap it around the book, and it's going to say How to Be a Good Person, because they judge books by their covers. Yep. Thank you, Lester. Lester's an asshole. Don't judge a book by its cover. And that's what we're all doing. Sometimes I wonder if that was reverse psychology that they used on us. So, and that's just it right there. Like, really, that's not a metaphor. That's not a metaphor. It's literal. Don't judge a book by its cover. And we're all stories. We're all stories. Did you know we are changelings? We are changelings. I'm going to clarify this. We are like changelings. And if you think I'm a changeling because I adapt, I take on many shapes and forms. If I use the wrong spell work, I become whatever the hell I become. The more you understand the psychology of a changeling and a human, they're identical. You are a sentient storybook. You are a sentient storybook. You adopt that psychology and boy, your world changes. You're sitting there writing out your story on a pen. And as the story unfolds, your life unfolds before you. So between you being a storybook and you being a changeling, what are you? Who are you? And if you really wrap your psychology around this identity of I am a story and I am a changeling. Now a changeling can choose to be whatever the hell a changeling wants, can't it? Think about it. We're changelings. We are absolutely changelings. And we've got Mrs. Penningroth, Mitchell, and Lester sitting there telling us how we all should be. And we're all following them. No idea that they have built in this world and this delusion inside of a shark tank. So I collect the guppies. We head over to the wilderness of nothing, where we trek for 36 perspective shifts until we get to the point of truth at the healing garden. And then you can go where the fuck you want. I don't care. You can go wherever the fuck you want. So you can always go wherever the fuck you want, but you don't believe that. So believe it. You can go wherever the fuck you want. I am going to contemplate the meaning of life now. Yes, Lizzie, that's right. I'm going to think about life, the universe, and everything. I'm probably going to sit down and talk with Douglas and Cervantes. To me, they are my masters. They always have been. It's a really different relationship that I had with them than anybody else had. They are really, truly they were my teachers. I learned more about reality and truth from Cervantes than anyone else. That's who I learned reality from. Cervantes. Not the US government. I learned reality from Cervantes. A man who had to sit in prison for 20 fuck years because his father didn't pay taxes during the Spanish Inquisition. Yeah, I value that man's perspective. I have one of the courses that I've built is where I read the great book and then I translate it. I really love that. I came up with it yesterday. I was going through my Zoom calls, or not my Zoom calls, my Zoom stuff. And one of the things I found was my review on Of Mice and Men. I don't like John Steinbeck. I'm so mad at him. I am so mad at him. I value his perspective, but dude, he was so pessimistic. Like, dude, really? Life's just shit and you die. Yeah, thank you, John. So I realized it's me reading the great books. Oh, that's going to be fucking awesome. So I placed him over in the whole, I'm just going to do like a great books course where you can read my perspective on all these books. And I'm very, very excited about that. I am so very excited about that. Oh, and now I need to read Tolstoy. I've never read Tolstoy. I've never read Tolstoy. Now I really got to get my hands on Tolstoy. Oh, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. All right. I'll talk to you later. If you are wanting to learn more, you may contact me on either LinkedIn or Facebook. And then we will chat about the life, the universe, and everything. Humble students only. Thank you so much, and may the kindest of words always find you.